Now for our feature story of the day, Bitcoin can grow by another 100x. Can it really? Yes. Absolutely. According to this Bitcoin OG Tuur Demeester, and Max Kaiser reposted it, actually found it on his timeline earlier, and I thought it would be a great topic of discussion, especially as we're correcting in the 80,000 range right now. Why not? But yeah, shout out Tuur Demeester. Appreciate you sharing this. He wrote clearly right here, could Bitcoin grow by another 100x? Yes. And hypothetically, if we did from 100,000, that would take us to 10 million per coin. And speaking of 10 million per coin, there is a guy by the name of Hal Finney that predicted Bitcoin to hit 10 million 16 years ago, back when Bitcoin was trading at virtually zero. So speaking of visionaries, rest in peace, Hal Finney. But let's first look at this chart. You should be able to see this on your screen. Let me know if you guys can see that. Or should I keep it small so nothing's cut off? That might be better if we just keep it that way so you can see the full image. Yeah, we'll do that. So as you can see, Bitcoin's currently at less than 1% of the total addressable market. Speculation of the total global wealth is currently above 900 trillion. So we're just going to use 900 trillion as the number. So if Bitcoin accounts for just 0.2% of that 900 trillion in global wealth, Bitcoin's total addressable market would be 225 trillion, which is virtually, I think we're currently at like, what, 1.7 trillion or 1.8 trillion. So it would more than double. It'd be crazy. 100x, easy peasy, assuming a 50% market share of the store value assets, of course. So looking at that 900 trillion of the global wealth, total addressable market, estimate 330 trillion currently in real estate, which is a pretty big market, clearly. Bonds are 300 trillion, another major market. And then we have the money, which is at 120 trillion. We have gold at just 16 trillion. We have art. I didn't even realize the art market was $18 trillion. Equities, 115 trillion. And the Bitcoin total addressable market, when it hits 225 trillion, it's a game on. We're talking 10 million per Bitcoin or in that ballpark. And right now, so you can see how minuscule we're at. Like I said, we're currently less than 2 trillion. And let me actually pull up coin market cap, and we'll just look at the exact number, so I'm not making anything up. So yeah, right now, as of today, the Bitcoin market cap is all the way down, good lord, to 1.67 trillion. The all-time high is just above 2 trillion, just FYI. So pretty significant. And reading some of the comments here, this guy wrote, "Hey Tuur, I built a live dashboard to track this in real time." Oh my God. And it puts things in perspective. And Tuur wrote, those are some really neat graphics. This one's one of my favorite at the moment. And you can see the sats per dollar. This was 1,135. Today, you get close to 1,200 sats per dollar because of the decline. So seize the moment, take advantage of it. But let's get into this OG prediction going back 16 years. And back then, the total addressable market was way less than it is today. So also keep that in mind, which means if the total addressable market was what it is today, 16 years ago from the inception of Bitcoin, then this infamous 10 million prediction from Hal Finney would have been extremely larger. But I digress. Bitcoin historian Pete Rizzo, R-I-Z-Z-O, open your ears, jackass. Shout out to the Jerky Boys. I was a huge fan growing up. Reignited interest in the iconic prediction in the recent tweet 16 years ago. Hal Finney forecasts a future biddy price of 10 million per coin when the crypto was still valued at zero. You got to give it up for the OGs. And shout out to Mr. Rizzo, R-I-Z-Z-O. Open your ears there, Joey. And I mean, it's all written right here, so I'll just read you what he wrote. This is, again, 16 years ago, he wrote, "As an amusing thought experiment, imagine that Bitcoin is successful and becomes the dominant payment system in use throughout the world. Then the total value of the currency should be equal to the total value of the wealth in the world. The current estimate of the total worldwide household wealth that I have found ranges from 100 trillion to 300 trillion. And again, today we're 900 trillion, which is 3 times higher than the proposed range that he gave back then of 300 trillion. So keep that in mind, which means we can hit 30 million. With 20 million coins, that gives each coin a value of about 10 million. So the possibility of generating coins today with a few cents of computing time may be quite a good bet. Yeah. With a payoff of something like 100 million to 1. And that's precisely the type of returns Max and Stacy are experiencing right now. God bless them. Even if the odds of the Bitcoin succeeding to this degree are slim, are they really 100 million to 1 against? Just something to think about. Very powerful post right there. Here's the OG right here. And again, may he rest in peace. Hal Finney's all-time best Bitcoin quotes. Let's go through this thread. He's an OG. He's a legend. So let's click on this baby. And this was posted Jan 10th from the Bitcoin historian. Let's see here. What other quotes do we got? The most bullish quotes from Hal Finney. All right, here we go. So he also says, well, that's the one I just covered as an amusing thought experiment, and he projects the 10 million. Another prediction he made when it was $6. Unless Bitcoins become substantially more valuable, the Bitcoin network will never be substantially more resistant to attack. For Bitcoin to succeed and become secure, Bitcoins must become vastly more expensive. And this was, again, a prediction from March 17th, 2011, when it was only $6. Another prediction when it was $22. Every day that goes by and Bitcoin hasn't collapsed increases the chance of eventual success and justifies the higher price. Amen. When it was $0, January of 1994. Good Lord. If you want to change the world, don't protest. Write code. Speak. And for those that didn't know, 2 years after this, Max Kaiser actually got the credit with the first what's the term? Digital currency ever created. He actually holds the patent on it, FYI, and that was in 96. When Bitcoin was trading at a penny, February 10th, the day before my birthday on 2010, he wrote, Bitcoin has the potential to become the dominant currency worldwide. If this happens, Bitcoins could be worth millions of dollars each. And it's just crazy. Again, this is 16 years ago, before anyone knew about Bitcoin. Another prediction from 1992. Here we are faced with the problems of loss of privacy, creeping, computerization, massive databases, more centralization, and digital cash offers a completely direction to go in. The computer can be used as a tool to liberate and protect people rather than to control them. Can I get an amen? He also wrote, back when Bitcoin was $0 in 2008, Bitcoin seems to be a very promising and original idea. Yeah, I'd say that again. And when it was $0.25 on November 7th of 2008, since we are all rich with Bitcoins, or will be once they're worth 1 million, like everyone expects, we ought to put some of this unearned wealth to good use. And when Bitcoin was 26 cents, December 4th, 2010, Bitcoin is a global, decentralized, yet consistent database. This database is used to record transfers of coins, but it could potentially be used for more. There are many applications for a global, consistent database. And was 28 cents, December 21st, 2010. I see Bitcoin as ultimately becoming a reserve currency for the banks, playing much the same role as gold did in the early days of banking. Banks could issue digital cash with greater anonymity and lighter weight, more efficient transactions. I mean, and if you don't know, now you know. Let me know your thoughts on that. And speaking of 10 million, I got a bonus prediction from you from Mikey Saylor. This is something he shared where he projected Bitcoin would 425x. There's a throwback, but I transcribed the interview, and here's what Mikey Saylor wrote. Because Bitcoin is just pure money, it's just as effective at 100,000 a coin as 10,000 a coin. And at 1 million a coin, it's just as effective. And at 10 million a coin, it's probably more compelling at 10 million a coin than 1 million or 100,000 a coin. It's kind of a universally scalable asset that gets less risky. The only thing that is going to change, in my opinion, is when it was super risky and scary, below 10,000, you were getting 1 to 200% a year annualized gains. And when it got a bit more understandable, between 10,000 and 100,000, your gains go to 40 or 50% a year. And then at some point, they go to 30%, 20%. And in the extreme, if everybody in the world understood the pretty little bitty going up forever, it would be 20, 30, 40% of the wealth of the world. So it would be 200 to 300 trillion in today's dollars. And then the price would be appreciating at a rate of the global inflation in the fiat currency. And then he ends it with this. So if the gold inflation rate remains a 7, it would still remain a 7, and then it would appreciate a little bit more because of the productivity of the people that adopt it as a treasury reserve asset. And if you don't know, now you know. Let me know your thoughts. Those are 3 predictions for you at $10 million per coin. Let me know if you agree, disagree. And of course, it's not happening overnight. Most likely not going to happen this cycle. Hate to bust your bubble. But nonetheless, it will happen one day. And I will be streaming and I will be celebrating. And we'll probably have a 10 million Bitcoin fiesta with the Nippinator. Why not?